Welcome to This Explainer. Look, today we are completely shattering the myth that a generic cybersecurity certification is going to be enough to get you hired in 2026. Right now, there's this massive, frustrating pain point across the tech industry. You've got thousands of people spending their time and hard-earned money getting general certificates, and yet crucial security jobs are sitting there entirely unfilled. Why? Because of a massive skills mismatch. The threat surface is expanding rapidly, especially alongside AI adoption, and what employers actually prioritize has totally shifted. So we're going to break down the 3 highly specific areas that hiring managers are genuinely desperate for, what each path practically requires, and exactly how you can pick the one that fits your unique strengths so you can finally break into the industry. If you're pulling your hair out, sending out dozens of applications and getting absolutely nowhere, it's honestly because employers are just drowning in generic resumes. They are strictly filtering for specific expertise now. Just imagine a hiring manager staring at a stack of 500 resumes for a single opening, right? 490 of them basically just say cybersecurity enthusiast with the exact same entry-level badge and literally nothing else to differentiate them. But then they come across one resume that clearly states, I specialize in cloud security and I have audited and secured multi-tier AWS environments. Boom. That candidate wins the interview instantly. Specificity is what cuts through all that noise. Which brings us to the generic cybersecurity trap. Let's just dive straight into the biggest problem in tech hiring right now, the death of the broad, undefined cybersecurity role. Entry-level interest has absolutely exploded over the past few years, but this means that any job posting for a generalist security position gets an overwhelming, frankly unmanageable volume of applications. And here's why generalists really struggle. Modern cyber attacks are just way too complex for surface-level knowledge to be useful on day one. Having a mile-wide, inch-deep understanding simply doesn't help when a company is staring down a highly specific cloud infrastructure breach. To break through, you have to pivot toward one of 3 highly actionable specialization paths. Choosing a specialty isn't about limiting your options. It's your strategic wedge to get your foot in the door. Specializing is no longer optional. It is your ultimate competitive advantage. So let's explore Path 1, cloud security. If you're someone who loves designing systems from the ground up and you have the patience for a slightly longer learning curve, this path has an incredibly high ceiling. And it pays so well because you're literally protecting the foundation of a company's revenue. As companies shift their core infrastructure to the cloud, they desperately need specialists to understand underlying cloud engineering fundamentals before they even start bolting on security tools. The attack surface has shifted. Traditional network security just doesn't cover how modern environments get exploited. You need to know AWS, Azure, or GCP. You need to recognize a misconfigured Terraform script or understand how a single exposed API endpoint could leak a whole customer database. The focused learning path here is a bit of a longer runway to competence, but it gives you a massive long-term edge. Think of it like this. Start with 2 solid months focused on pure cloud architecture. Then spend the next 2 systematically auditing for common, costly mistakes, like those overly permissive access controls. Finally, spend 2 months building a tangible project where you deliberately misconfigure an environment, fix it, and document the whole shebang on GitHub. Hiring managers absolutely love visible proof. A well-documented repository speaks volumes over some multiple-choice test. And that prep leads you right to the interview hot seat. They'll drop a practical scenario on you, like you find a storage bucket that's been publicly accessible for 3 weeks. Walk me through your response. They are testing your technical remediation steps, sure, but they're also testing your judgment on how you communicate this exposure to a non-technical executive. That is incredibly hard, but vital. Execs don't care about the technical jargon. They care about revenue impact, brand damage, and fines. It's not just about locking the bucket down. It's about articulating that risk calmly and clearly to stakeholders. Moving right along to Path 2, identity management. If you prefer precision, policy, and structural work, identity and access management, or IAM, is arguably the most consistently important and underrated path out there. This is the quiet, structural guardianship that prevents catastrophic problems before they even happen. Let's be real, a huge share of actual security breaches don't come from some sophisticated hacker brute forcing a firewall. They come from a mid-level manager's compromised password that brings down the entire network. IAM specialists are the architects of the zero trust model, operating on the principle of least privilege, making sure everyone has exactly enough access to do their job and absolutely nothing more. And this brings up a brilliant way to understand where major security failures actually happen, confusing authentication with authorization. Think of it like an exclusive nightclub, right? Authentication is proving your ID to the bouncer at the front door just to get inside. That's who you are. Authorization is whether you have the VIP wristband to get into the backstage area. That's what you're permitted to do once you're in. Conflating these two is exactly where massive security holes open up. To stand out in IM, you have to move way beyond just toggling MFA on in a settings menu. You've got to understand industry protocols like OAuth and SAML and actually get your hands dirty with platforms like Okta or Active Directory. Picture a modern company. You've got full-time employees, external contractors, automated systems, all needing carefully scoped access. For your portfolio, you should do a full audit and redesign of an overly permissive setup, demonstrating how your changes reduced real business risk without slowing people down. Because in an interview, you're going to get hit with a dreaded orphan account scenario. A departing employee still has access a week later. How did this happen? This explicitly tests your grasp of the entire identity lifecycle. Anyone can grant access, right? But attackers specifically hunt for active accounts of departed employees because nobody is watching them anymore. Hiring managers want to know how you'd integrate systems with HR to revoke access instantly and how you design structural fail-safes to prevent those stale accounts from lingering. Okay, let's look at path 3, incident response. For those of you who genuinely thrive under pressure and want that real adrenaline rush, this is your fast-paced world. You're essentially a digital firefighter, piecing together scattered evidence on the absolute worst day a company might face. And because digital business operations are rapidly expanding, the sheer volume of incidents is growing exponentially. Paint a picture of a massive ransomware attack for a second. Systems are locked, execs are breathing down your neck, the clock is ticking. Incident response demands specialists who can use tools like SIEMs to find a needle in a haystack of server logs, all while staying completely methodical during the crisis. A fantastic way to compress this high-pressure experience into a learnable format is participating in defensive capture-to-flag events, or CTFs. But here's the catch. While finding the flag is fun, the real job is writing the incident report afterward. A great portfolio piece isn't just winning a CTF. It's publishing a detailed write-up of exactly how the attack happened, the logs that proved it, and how to patch the vulnerability. You've got to master the incident lifecycle from start to finish and get genuinely hands-on reading logs, because that's where you'll spend most of your time. Interviewers will use this exact question to see if you have a structured process or if you're just going to panic. Walk me through the first 30 minutes. Genuine composure under pressure is rare, and it's super hard to fake. They want to hear that your very first step is always isolation and containment, like instantly disconnecting the infected host from the broader network, before you ever begin preserving evidence and diving headfirst into forensics. Now, let's talk about salary growth and skill overlap. While you should absolutely pick one primary focus to headline your resume today, a really smart long-term strategy is specializing in one immediately, but intentionally building working knowledge of the other two. Looking at the data, entry-level pay is comparable across all three and usually beats a broad security role. But look at the trajectory. IM is incredibly reliable and basically recession-proof thanks to compliance laws. Cloud security offers the steepest growth straight into lucrative architecture roles. And incident response, that rockets upward if you move into team leadership or proactive threat hunting. All right, let's translate all of this theory into your 6-month action plan. You know the paths, but how do you actually build the credibility? First, resist the urge to spread yourself thin across generic content. Spend the first 2 months strictly mastering concepts. The next 2 months, get hands-on in free-tier environments. And those crucial last 2 months are dedicated to producing one well-documented portfolio piece. Seriously, a GitHub repository with custom scripts, documented lab environments, and clear README files is worth 10 times more than a multiple-choice certification without any visible experience. And as you build this out, remember that cybersecurity is ultimately a business function. Above all else, mastering the 2-minute executive summary is absolutely critical. If you can translate a deeply technical AWS misconfiguration into a clear 1-sentence summary about financial risk for a CEO, you become completely unfireable. That communication skill is explicitly screened for at every single level of security hiring. As we wrap up this explainer, the choice is ultimately yours. Are you going to build secure clouds, design precise access policies, or investigate live breaches? Don't let your resume get lost in the generalist trap for another second. Pick your specialty, build a real, documented project, and own your niche. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll leave you with this final thought. Which of these 3 paths will you start mastering today?